Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a disturbing nature.
And we're not going to hold back on the graphic details and disturbing content.
So we do not recommend our podcast for children under the age of 13.
And while we respect the victims and their families involved in these tragic cases,
we're also going to be critical of mistakes that are made during the investigations.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So with that said, this podcast may not be for everyone.
And that's okay. We're glad you're here checking us out.
And if you've made it this far, welcome to the Unsung Murder Ballads family. And follow us on Instagram at Unsung Murder Ballads if you want to talk to us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 73. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
All right, so before we get started, we just want everyone to know that we are now posting episodes on YouTube. So if you don't know, get on there and listen. We are starting from the very beginning with those. We are not adding, the very first episode I had already created and I added images on, but from there, because of how much time it takes, I'm posting all the episodes in order all the way through, and then I will, over time, I will go back, add images, and kind of replace those videos so that it's not just the audio. But for right now, it's just the main image and the audio. All right, so tonight we are going to be diving into some high school drama.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, do you remember?
I was just listening to High School Musical.
I've never watched or listened to that, so I don't know.
You're not really the target audience.
Definitely not. That's true. 100% true. Now,
that shit came out when I was like 12, and that shit hit.
I believe it.
Bangers on that album. It was a big deal in middle school.
Well, I've heard a lot about like the TV show Glee, and which I believe is the same concept.
Honestly, Glee you might actually find entertaining, but I'm not sure.
Well, I don't really know because it's a high school thing, but I do know that the Flash actor from the TV show came off of that, and I believe the Supergirl actress also came off that.
Oh, wait, who's the Supergirl actress?
Melissa Benoist.
Melissa Benoist.
Yep, she was on the Supergirl TV show for however many seasons that ran, and I believe she also came off that show.
Oh my god, yeah, she did. She was the cheerleader.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, but I've seen her obviously as Supergirl, so to me, anything she does, I'll probably watch at some point, but Glee would be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like as a theater person, you actually could maybe get into it, but it is extreme cringe, and if you can't handle that, then I might not recommend it.
Well, I used to love doing musical theater, but as I've gotten older, I have less patience for it, and especially the cheese of it, so that's why I'm less inclined.
You've lost your youthful spirit.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe I'm doing too much true crime.
Oh, it happens to the best of us.
It does. But the good news is we do grow out of our high school bullshit, but unfortunately for some people, like in our case tonight, nice little segue there.
Ooh, slay. I was about to say, okay, but Sweeney Todd is my favorite musical and also my favorite true crime story, so.
Is it a true crime story?
I don't know. Define true crime. I actually don't
It's
know.
definitely a crime story, but whether or not it's based on reality is the question.
Oh, right, the whole true part of the crime. Oh, yeah.
True
so that
part.
one, actually, I'm not sure, but I could definitely tell you the story.
Well, no, and I can tell you that there have been people in the past who have murdered people and baked them into pies and fed them to people. So there's some truth to it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly everything's happened before.
Yes, most things. I'm pretty sure.
Things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm
Right.
sure some things are still hopefully way out of the realm of possibility. So.
You know, and every time we're on this podcast, I think, wow, that's a brand new thing that person did. Wow.
No, and it's true because some criminals are very, very creative. Like we talked when we did the Murder Ballad Fumbles episode with the person hiring the whole rape for hire thing. That I'd never heard that anywhere else.
Yeah, that part I don't want it.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
That's crazy.
Yeah, terrifying.
And I always think with the toy box killer, he haunts me a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. He was brutal too, and unfortunately, you know, he's the only one to have done it to that degree. But unfortunately, people are held against their wills like that, so it's awful. But tonight is a little different. This one is like Mean Girls meets a horror movie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so here we are. So we'll just, we'll just dive right in. This is the unsettling case of Skylar Neese and her friends, quote unquote.
Oh, dear. Well,
yes.
The foreshadowing is strong.
Skylar was born on February 10th, 1996, and lived in Star City, West Virginia, with her parents, Dave and Mary Neese. Her parents described her as hardworking, she was an honor student, and had a bright future ahead of her. She met one of her best friends, a girl by the name of Sheila Eddy, when they were both in elementary school. And both girls, because they were both only children, they became friends very quickly. They were pretty much inseparable.
I have a prediction. They're going to end up not being friends.
Well, we still have one more character in this cast.
Oh, all right. Well, pop off.
All right, so in high school, their freshman year of high school, another girl, Rachel Schoaf, arrived, and she was also an only child. And for some reason, these three just clicked. It was like a trio of BFFs, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the three would do the typical teen stuff, but they were going down a rebellious path. They were skipping school, they were sneaking out, smoking some of that devil's lettuce, all that.
Not the devil's lettuce.
Not the devil's lettuce. I mean, it is West Virginia, so what else is there to do, right?
I mean, even where I live, what else is there to do?
That's true, too. Yes. It's funny how everyone thinks that their place, wherever they are, there's nothing to do, but they have no idea just how isolating it can get in some places.
Yeah, that's true. I should shut the fuck up, huh?
I was going to say, because Boston...
I live in a very fun... I was totally joking. I live in a great area.
I know you do. But I know you were, but it was still funny because, I remember being in, the city of Worcester thinking there was nothing to do. And then you get to places like West Virginia, and you're like, oh my God, there's nothing to do.
Legitimately. Yeah, I feel for that. I can't empathize because I've never experienced it, but man, that sucks.
I experienced something like it in the military, being out in the desert where there was nothing around you. You couldn't even walk somewhere.
That's true. Honestly, the military sounds like torture.
It can be, yeah. And then other times you're sent to really cool places like Japan, so hey.
That is true. You did go to Japan.
I did. So many people believe that Sheila was a bad influence over Skylar and Rachel. Other kids at school thought Sheila was mean and controlling and generally avoided her. And as a result, they kind of steered clear of Skylar and Rachel as well. Rachel's other friends were more religious and reserved, and they kept their distance from all three of them. They were just, because of the religious upbringing and the things the girls were doing, they just kept their distance.
They cut her off.
Basically, they just didn't want to be associated.
Fair enough.
Now, though Skylar and Sheila had formerly been inseparable, Rachel's arrival allegedly drove a wedge between them. Rachel and Skylar began competing to be closest to Sheila, and Sheila, of course, enjoyed every second of that attention.
I bet she fucking did.
Now, however, the trio was still inseparable and still hung out all the time, and Skylar was said to have served as this emotional rock for the other two, as both Sheila and Rachel's parents had been divorced, but Skylar's parents were still together and still wanted everything for her, so they were still there, they were supportive and giving her everything that she needed.
Right, there's just internal tension.
Right. So, like I said, so she's this emotional rock for the other two, but the other two, because of the instability of their family lives, were being a bit more rebellious than Skylar, who was being a bit more reserved, because she still had parents that she was trying to keep happy. Skylar's mother, Mary, said that her daughter's relationship with Sheila Eddy was something like Skylar thought that she could save her. She would hear them on the phone, and Skylar was giving Sheila all kinds of hell, yelling at her, don't be stupid, what were you thinking? So... But her mother also said that despite all that, Sheila was fun to be around. That she did all that crazy teenage stuff and that she was silly and just, they were having a good time. So in the end, she knew or believed that Sheila was a good person. So Sheila, like I said, was accepted by Mary and David Neese, and so much so that they treated her like their own child. Sheila didn't even have to knock when she came over. She just came right in and opened the door. Now, my best friends were like that, too. They would just come in, say hi to my mom, call my mother Ma, that kind of thing. So I get this relationship. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, too.
Now, Rachel Schoaf, on the other hand, was the exact opposite of Sheila. Though she was
The religious upbringing.
Yes, that to me is always kind of terrifying. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's not my vibe.
So she was well liked and basically enjoyed being in the school plays, and she was a singer and doing all that kind of stuff. But she came from this strict Catholic family, and she idolized Sheila for her kind of carefree and wild attitude. She really looked up to her. So while Rachel and Skylar enjoyed some of the freedom that Sheila enjoyed, they didn't have the same freedom to the same extent. And that particular dynamic would eventually spell doom for the relationship between the three of them. One night, at a sleepover party, Skylar woke up because she heard a noise. When she looked over, Sheila and Rachel were having sex with each other, if that wasn't clear. You know, they didn't invite boys over.
No. They were roommates.
Yeah. That's funny. So this led to an argument between Skylar and Sheila for some reason, and things and things started to go downhill from there. I kind of wonder if there was more to Skylar and Sheila than has been reported. Because why have an argument over something like that? Except maybe the disrespect of doing it in the room with you there.
Right. No, I could see lots of reasons for that to cause an argument.
Really?
It's like, bro, I'm literally sleeping here. What the fuck is wrong with you? Or jealousy if she had a crush on her.
Yeah, that was my initial thought, other than the disrespect thing. But like, I can't come up with too many reasons why I'd be mad at my buddy for having sex with someone else while I'm sleeping in the room. Like, I wouldn't be upset about that.
I think that you're the outlier in this case.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Most people, I think, would be uncomfortable with that.
Okay. I mean, fair enough. I just would be. It depends on.
You're a real homie. You're a real one for that.
Well, I have to say, when I was in the Marine Corps, because you have to share rooms, and I remember waking up to the noise of my roommate having sex with someone, and I just fell back asleep, and then I was woken up again.
No, it's so funny. I'm dying.
I woke up again because I heard someone turn the shower on, and I was trying to figure out, was it him? Was it her? Was it both of them? And then I heard him spraying air freshener in the room, and he mutters under his breath, "Stanky bitch." And I was trying not to laugh so hard.
No, that's unbearably funny. No, I would die. That's so fucking.
So I just laid there and eventually fell back asleep again. But again, that's just, I guess you're right. I guess I'm an outlier. That's just who I am. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Mm-hmm. That's funny. Okay, we digress.
Yes.
So in May of 2012, thanks to the trio's many social media posts, it became clear that Skylar, Sheila, and Rachel had underlying tensions between each other.
Oh, not the public drama.
Oh, yes.
Wait, do we know where it is? This is Facebook drama?
This was mostly done on Twitter.
Twitter drama.
Yes.
Okay. That's fun.
So Skylar tweeted things like, quote, "You're a two-faced bitch and obviously fucking stupid if you thought I wouldn't find out," unquote. Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's so high school. This
is
the same time as I was in high school, and this is so quintessential.
Yeah, this is your age group, yes.
You know what that's called? That's called a subtweet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It's when you like tweet something specifically about someone, or even if you like post it wherever, but like saying something about someone and not saying who it is, like being sassy and being like, oh, I'm not gonna. If you think it's you, then it's you. Like being very like coy and stupid about it. Very
vague. Yes. I too many times in life I've seen someone post that, and I'm just like, oh, you're just baiting us. You know, like it's so stupid.
It's annoying and it's bait exactly. And it's. I'm just think it's funny. But anyway, that's a vocab word for you and for the listeners who are good. Not my age. Yeah, that's a subtweet.
It's funny because there was an episode not too long ago that Jameson and I did where we had a situation like that, and I had no idea what to call it. I just, a vague post looking for attention. Yeah, so subtweet or sub-post, is that?
Yeah, a subtweet, specifically when it's like directed at someone and you don't tag them.
That's
and then
funny.
people will be like, at me. That's why a lot of people say at me, like as in tag me in it, like say your shit to my face.
Right. That's so funny. So another tweet that she posted was, "Too bad my friends are having lives without me." Yeah. So
Oof.
very petty things.
Oof.
So A random thing happens here that indirectly factors in, so I do need to discuss it. There was a
All right.
body, there was a body that was discovered in the area not too far from their school. It was a homeless person, there was no foul play suspected, but it did kind of bring up this constant topic of communication, of conversation at their school.
Mm-hmm.
So what this ended up doing is people started walking around asking questions like, well, what would you do to hide a body? Or, how would you kill someone? And, Skylar, Rachel, and Sheila were all part of this conversation. Because
Morbid, but that's, how we cope.
I was going to say, and I talk about stuff like that all the time. And there are even
true.
videos of the girls that they made and posted where one of them will say something like, shot or suffocated? How would you choose to die? And they were both like, shot. And then they're like, in the video, you hear one of them say, shot where? And then the person asking the question is like, shot in the head. And they're like, oh, definitely shot in the head. And they have a whole conversation like that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so it's all dark, but it's
Yeah,
honestly,
this is spooky. I'm starting to get spooked.
it's kind of my kind of dark because I love conversations like that.
Mm-hmm.
So some students would later claim that they overheard Sheila and Rachel talking about killing Skylar. One of the girls at their school that overheard them went to Skylar and told them that she heard about them talking about her specifically, and Skylar brushed it off, saying that it was all just in a game and all in good fun.
Oh, no. Famous last words.
So obviously everyone starts to realize that Sheila and Rachel are becoming closer, and they're excluding Skylar more and more. So much so that Sheila and Skylar would often coordinate their outfits purposefully, excluding Skylar so that she would feel left out.
Damn, okay, this fucking sucks.
Both Rachel and Sheila had also started becoming sexually active, dating boys and having sex with boys, and they would discuss their activities in front of Skylar, all the while kind of making sure she felt like excluded even further.
Yeah, they're like, look at what we're doing, and you're not.
Yeah, you don't have a boyfriend, you're not doing this. They basically just made her feel left out, and they kind of started viewing her as what they referred to as like an immature tag-along. Now, on the flip side of that, Skylar knew all of their secrets, all of the stuff they didn't want their parents to know or kids at school to know. So the two other girls were very weary of completely cutting Skylar out of their lives.
They know that she's got secrets.
Exactly. So as the two other girls were pulling away from Skylar, she couldn't turn to anyone else because everyone else were weary of her because Sheila was such a bitch that Rachel and Skylar were kind of guilty by association, and no one else wanted to spend any time with them. So Skylar was feeling more and more alone at this point.
Poor thing.
At one point, Rachel wasn't a part of the play Pride and Prejudice, and she was at a rehearsal. And she was talking to another student. She took her phone because she had it to her ear and she was laughing. She turned to her friend and said, "Listen to this," and held up the phone. It was Sheila and Skylar, and they were having an argument. But Skylar was unaware that Sheila had contacted Rachel in a three-way, and she was listening in on the entire conversation.
Oof.
Yeah, straight out of fucking Mean Girls.
Yeah, I'm also like, in this day and age, how do you even do that?
You just add them to a call. But I don't know if honestly, I haven't tried to do that in so long.
Right, me neither. Like, I'm like, I group call in like Facebook. I don't do it manually by phone anymore.
Well, I'm wondering if you would know that other people were on the call now, which I think you would.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to hide it anymore. That's interesting.
Well, maybe there's a special way. Who knows?
Yeah, we're going to have to find out now.
If you have any Gen Z, Gen Alpha listeners, tell us about what's going on here.
So the girls continued to argue openly on social media, especially Twitter, and Skylar had even written something on there about sharing secrets because she knew a lot.
Oh my.
In June of 2012, Skylar ended up going on a trip with Sheila and her family to Myrtle Beach. This is something that they had planned, and I guess these trips used to happen with their families all the time. Like, my best friend growing up used to come on my family trips with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. However, the two girls spent the entire trip fighting. So after what really must have felt like the longest week of their lives, They returned, and Sheila went to Rachel and told her that Skylar needed to die.
What?
That's where she went with it.
That's fucking insane.
I agree with you. Absolutely fucking nuts. But however, despite all that drama, and despite this kind of conclusion, the three girls would still continue to spend time together. That is until July 5th, 2012. Skylar had worked her shift at a local Wendy's and went home like she always did. Her parents had awoken early the next day, and they left for work, and they woke up before Skylar on a normal day, so her father, had gone to work, didn't think anything of it. He came home at midday because he was going to allow Skylar to take the car to her next shift at Wendy's, but he saw that she wasn't home. But her door was locked from the inside of her room. So he goes outside, and he notices that there's a bench pushed up against her window, and that the screen has been removed. So it's obvious that she snuck out. He even finds the screen in her closet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So her father calls Sheila, her best friend and all, and asks if she'd seen Skylar. Sheila says that they had talked, but that she hadn't seen her. So her father, Dave, calls his wife, Mary, and they start having a conversation, and they come home. And they decide, you know what, let's wait a little bit. We'll call her job at Wendy's when her shift starts. She's good. She's never missed a day. However, the phone rings, and it's the manager from Wendy's calling to see if Skylar was going to be coming into work that day.
Oh, shit.
Exactly. Now, the Neeses knew that their daughter didn't run away because as they're going through her room, her cell phone charger's there, her toothbrush is there, her toiletries are all there, stuff that teenage girls would never leave without.
Right, you're not leaving without your phone charger.
Exactly.
Bitch, I barely leave my house without my phone charger.
So there is surveillance footage from the outside of the buildings, because they lived in one of those complexes, townhouse things kind of thing. And it showed Skylar running down to a light-colored sedan and climbing into the back seat at around 12:30 that night. So the police are called by Skylar's parents. Her father said that, he had found the window open, showing that she had planned to return because she didn't close and lock the window. Now, usually, when a child under 18 vanishes under suspicious circumstances, a statewide Amber Alert goes out to the public. However, since there's video footage of Skylar leaving on her own free will, she didn't qualify for an Amber Alert.
Oh, that's tough.
Instead, authorities classified her as a runaway. Yep, a runaway. And not
always run away.
And not even an endangered runaway, just a runaway. Unfortunately, there was an early tip that said someone had seen Skylar in North Carolina. This got her parents excited, and they actually traveled up there only to find out it wasn't her.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's awful.
Skylar's parents began posting flyers about, of their missing daughter in the entire county, the entire region. And while Skylar was missing, Sheila spoke to Skylar's parents every day. She called asking for updates in the case, helped by putting up missing flyer posters, even assisting in searches.
Damn.
Police eventually spoke to Sheila, and she changed her story and told them that she hadn't just spoken to Skylar, that night Skylar had snuck out of the house with her and Rachel around 10:30, and that the three had driven around and gone to a secluded place in the woods to smoke some weed, something they did every so often. She said that she dropped Skylar off at around 11:45-ish, and she stopped at a different place near Skylar's house because they were worried that the headlights of the car would wake her parents and she would get caught going back inside. Basically, the police took her story at face value, especially because she's confessing to things that most teenagers wouldn't confess to.
It's true. That's true. It's definitely, she's very clearly introducing trust.
Yes, exactly. Now, Rachel couldn't be questioned because she had left for a Bible camp in the days immediately following Skylar's disappearance, and no one believed that going up there and interrupting what she was doing would yield any results. So they left her be. Police did notice that Sheila's vehicle was a light-colored sedan, but as the girl had given up so much, talking to them and kind of gave them the times that she had come and gone, that they just
Mhm.
noted it as a coincidence.
Yeah.
But the one thing police didn't do was go back through the surveillance to see if Sheila was there picking Skylar up at those earlier times.
Yeah.
They literally just took her at her word.
Hmm.
So the FBI and the West Virginia State Police joined the search for Skylar on September 10th, 2012. And they began interviewing Skylar's school friends, because at this point, school has started up. Rumors swirled that Skylar had gone to a huge house party and overdosed on heroin.
Oh my. Well, that's a big fucking rumor. Jesus Christ.
Right? Literally, they believe that she attended this party, overdosed, and people panicked and disposed of her body. That was what people were. That's what
Why
these
is
kids.
that the first story? Like, I understand how sometimes rumors can develop, but like, why on earth would it be that?
Right? It's so.
Like, I feel
It's
like you would
weird.
need a little bit of anything, evidence of any sort, for it to even feel kind of true.
It's so bizarre. But you know what? That's
Weird
how
as fuck.
teenagers are, right?
Yeah, sometimes they just randomly overdose on heroin.
Right. Well, and it's funny because like jumping from smoking weed to heroin also sounds like a big leap to me.
100%. There's no way this girl does heroin. That's crazy.
So when Rachel had returned from Bible camp, the police had left a note with her parents that they wanted to speak with her, but she initially avoided the police. She didn't want to have anything to do with them. But eventually, she had to sit down with them, and she told them, and basically what she told them lined up almost exactly with what Sheila had told them.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the fall of 2012, authorities did start to investigate Sheila and Rachel, but most believed that the girls had nothing to do with Skylar's disappearance. However, Star City police officer Jessica Colbank, her instincts, her hairs on the back of her neck were kind of standing up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that Sheila and Rachel's stories were verbatim the same. She's like, no one's...
Wait, that's suspicious.
Yes, and she's like, no one's stories are that much, they don't line up that much unless it's rehearsed.
That makes sense. That's a very interesting tell.
Very much so. It's like when you cheat on a test, like you
Yeah.
have to miss a couple, questions or you're going to be obvious.
Exactly. Yeah, no. It's very interesting.
So she said...
I watched a YouTube video, a really long YouTube video of a former FBI interrogator and all the ways that they figure out if people are telling the truth, and it was so interesting.
I'm going to have to watch that. I love that kind of stuff.
If I can find it, I will send it to you.
Cool. So she said that from her gut was telling her that Sheila was acting wrong, but Rachel was afraid. So she knew that Rachel was going to be the one. So during questioning, both girls showed physical signs of lying. They played with their hair. They wouldn't meet the investigator's eyes.
Mhm.
Sheila actually believed she could beat a lie detector test. And by taking one, she actually added more doubt to her ever-changing story.
Yeah, for sure.
But despite all this suspicion, authorities couldn't charge either girls with anything because they had no evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a state trooper named Chris Berry, he was assigned to the case in August of 2012. He always believed that the murderer could not conceal what they had done for very long. And he had literally seen murderers brag about their deeds. And we've seen that in cases. People are stupid.
Yeah, they are. One of the big themes of this podcast.
Really, it's amazing how many people are stupid enough to talk about what they do.
Yup.
So he had a feeling that this was going to be one of those cases and believed that eventually Rachel or Sheila would come to confess. He then went and created fake online accounts, pretending to be an attractive teenage boy who attended West Virginia University, and he scoured Facebook and Twitter, linking up with Sheila and Rachel.
Smart.
Yeah,
Modern age policing, huh?
That's what kind of needs to be done, isn't it crazy?
It is. It's true. It's like a fucking new frontier.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, like social media, really our phones, like if you're going to commit a crime, don't use your phone in any way, shape, or form.
Don't even bring it with you.
Exactly. So investigators could use this access to glean insight on the mental states of Sheila and Rachel from their posts. And they observed that Sheila was like perky and normal, but Rachel was way too quiet and reserved. However,
Mm.
neither of those girls hinted that they were upset about their best friend's disappearance. Which,
That's a red flag. They're going through a lot, like lining up their stories, and they're not trying to like, I don't know.
at least pretend they're upset.
Right. Seems
Exactly.
stupid.
Yep. Now, Sheila would tweet about mundane things and even posted photos of her and Rachel together. Some posts were odd, such as one on November 5th that said, "No one on this earth can handle me and Rachel. If you think you can, you're wrong."
Girl.
That's almost a confession.
Girl. That's terrible.
Meanwhile, Sheila and Rachel began hearing things on social media that made them nervous. Other students at their school outright accused them of having murdered Skylar.
Hey,
And
bro,
yeah.
they're really finding you.
And they told them it was only a matter of time before they were caught. They literally, if they posted like, "Oh, I miss you so much," people would just fucking blast them.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're getting brigaded.
And the other students were really funny about it because they were creating fake accounts to say this shit to them so that they didn't know which other students were saying it.
Oh, damn.
Authorities continually brought Sheila and Rachel in for interviews, and over time, the two of them became more secluded from their other friends and had to rely more and more on each other.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if they're getting that much online hate and harassment, then for sure they're only hanging out with each other.
Right. And here's the sad part of this whole thing. Months later, investigators finally realized that the car in the security footage didn't just resemble Sheila's, it belonged to her.
Oh, well, would you look at that?
Yeah, finally, months later, they decide to check surveillance cameras from other nearby businesses and were able to confirm that this was their car. And then someone finally realizes that when Skylar ran up to the car, she got in the back seat, which meant there were two people in the car.
What the hell?
Yeah, because you wouldn't jump in the back seat if the front passenger seat was open.
No, of course you wouldn't. That would be some Uber shit. Wild.
So as they're checking surveillance footage, they notice that the car is parked near a convenience store in Blackstone, West Virginia, and then traveling west from Star City. However, both Sheila and Rachel said that they had gone east the night of Skylar's disappearance. So they were finally caught in a lie. Exactly.
There we go.
But while the evidence continued to point to Skylar's best friends as the killers, the cops still didn't have enough to charge them.
Right, and did they really even know if she was dead or not?
At this point, no. She's still just
You're
missing.
right, there's no body.
Right. But the stress and strain of concealing their crimes continued to take a toll on Rachel in particular.
Mm-hmm.
On December 28th, 2012, a frantic parent called 911. Quote, "I have an issue with my 16-year-old daughter. I can't control her anymore. She's hitting us. She's screaming. She's running through the neighborhood." Unquote. The caller was Patricia Schoaf, Rachel's mother. In the background, Rachel could be heard crying uncontrollably, saying, "Give me the phone. No, this is over. This is over."
Oh, wow.
And then to the dispatcher, Patricia Schoaf says, "My husband's trying to contain her. Please hurry."
That's harrowing.
That's crazy. 6 months after Skylar's disappearance, Rachel experienced a nervous breakdown and spent a few days in a psychiatric hospital.
Ooh.
After her release, she called an attorney and confessed to him, and together they went to the police.
Wow.
Soon she told them the horrifying truth of what happened to Skylar Neese. She initially blurted out, "We stabbed her."
Holy fuck.
As she continued talking, the grim truth about Skylar's case only became more and more clear. As Rachel told it, she and Sheila planned to murder Skylar a month before they did so.
Oh, not the premeditated. Come on.
She said one day they were literally just sitting in their science class and they agreed that maybe they should kill her.
What on earth fucking shit mental disorder is that?
I don't know, but Rachel told authorities that Sheila and her simply grew bored with Skylar and didn't like her anymore and just didn't want to be her friend anymore.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on in your head that jumps to murder?
Exactly. Just ostracize her. Just don't
Literally, it's
talk
not
to
that
her,
hard to be a mean girl.
right? Just what the fuck? So not only did Sheila and Rachel plan Skylar's murder, they also outfitted their trunk, the trunk of Sheila's car, with a kill kit consisting of towels, bleach, a shovel, and a change of clothes for each of them.
I feel like all you need to do is look at their past Google searches.
Right?
You'll, that someone Googled how to clean up murder. Tools for murder, incognito tab.
They're not that smart. You're right. So,
I mean, you don't know that unless you've researched it.
Or you've watched a lot of movies.
Right, that, yeah, or maybe you have a thing for true crime,
Right. So in addition, they also packed knives that they would use to kill Skylar. And despite the warm weather that night, both girls had worn hooded sweatshirts to conceal the knives in the pocket. And for whatever reason,
Knife is a weird choice.
And sadly, Skylar didn't really think about why the two girls were wearing hoodies in such warm weather. Not that I think it would have saved her.
No, some people are just cold all the time. It's me. I'm always wearing a hoodie.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I would have been very suspicious of my buddies. But my friends and I are such practical jokers that anything like that is a red flag. Anything out of the norm.
That is true.
Yes.
I'm pretty oblivious, so I would have.
Which is precisely why you will often be the victim of one of my pranks.
It's true. I have been many times.
Yes. So their plan was to kill Skylar, dispose of her body, change their clothes, and head back home as if nothing had happened.
Jesus Christ.
Following their plan, Sheila and Rachel drove with Skylar to a secluded location in Pennsylvania where they frequently went to smoke and hang out. Now, keep in mind, Star City is in the northern part of West Virginia, so it's not that far from the Pennsylvania line.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the geography.
Yes, I had to look that up as well because I was like, that's a long drive, but it's really not. It's not very far.
Got you. Pennsylvania, I was just talking to someone about this, about how Pennsylvania is bigger than you think it is. It's so big.
It's huge, yeah. You could probably fit like 3, maybe 4 Massachusettses in there.
Yeah,
it's huge.
She's wide. She keeps going.
Yes.
All the way to them Great Lakes, I feel like.
Yeah, right up to Lake Erie. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Crazy. Pennsylvania.
I was going to say, I've only been to Pennsylvania like 2 or 3 times, so it's a big...
Yeah, I've just been to Philly a couple times. That's about it.
I've been to Harrisburg, and actually, I think I've been to Harrisburg twice, other than Philly. Yeah.
So. Oh, look at you.
Well, one was to see the Deads, and
naturally,
one was because there was a girl I had met in high school and reconnected with thanks to Facebook many years later. And we decided to meet halfway from where she lived in Virginia and me up here in Boston. And we met in Pennsylvania. And it was Harrisburg. That was roughly the halfway mark. Back to this. We digress again.
Okay, we've been digressing today.
Yes, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, it does need to be noted that Skylar at this point is trying everything she can to get back into the good graces of her friends. So... even agreeing to sneak out at night after everything that's gone on, in my opinion, shows just how much she wanted to reconcile.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Which is what makes everything these two girls do to her just so much more fucking tragic.
Oh, so upsetting.
So once they were there, Sheila and Rachel claimed that they left the lighter they needed to, smoke in the car. And Skylar either volunteered to go get it or she was asked to. Once she turned around, Sheila and Rachel counted to 3, and then they began attacking Skylar with their knives.
Oh, Jesus.
Rachel said that at one point during the attack, Skylar got away, but they stabbed her in the knee so she couldn't run very far.
Jesus.
Skylar fought back, even managing to take control of Rachel's knife and cutting Rachel's ankle with it. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough as Sheila just kept stabbing her. In her dying breaths, I know, it's fucking awful. In her dying breaths after being stabbed upwards to 50 times, Skylar asked why. And her supposed friends gave her no answer. They reportedly...
What the fuck?
Like I said, they reportedly stabbed her up to 50 times until she stopped making what they described as weird sounds.
God.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. There's this 16-year-old girl who just wants to hang out with her fucking friends.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you fucking do that?
It's awful.
Also sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, that too.
Like, maybe that's the wrong thing that I'm thinking of here, but like, I'm just thinking like it's so much easier to just like ignore someone.
Yeah, just be like, stop fucking talking to us.
Yeah,
But-
say go away.
And how-
Block them on Instagram.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Where did the fucking cogs get loose in their brains? So this is what they decided to do.
Well, even with that said, what kind of secrets does Skylar have that they're afraid she's going to talk about?
Oh, so I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, but how bad could that really be?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's that episode of Black Mirror where the kid is like he's masturbating and the camera is on his laptop and then that person blackmails him to rob a bank. Have you seen that episode?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole time I'm just like, dude, no one gives a shit that you're masturbating. Let that video leak.
Yeah, for real. Don't fucking rob a bank.
Yeah, and then, from there that it just escalates and escalates. But still, it's just a masturbation video. Get over it. But you know what?
Right.
Who knows? But who knows how important that was to these two girls?
It's true. We just don't know. And I assume we don't know the secrets either. So,
No, I'm to my knowledge, those secrets have never been officially released. So after they murdered Skylar, Sheila and Rachel had planned to bury her using the shovel that they had brought with them, but they found the ground was too rocky and they couldn't dig effectively. So,
that's tough.
so instead, they dragged Skylar's body to a secluded area of the woods next to a large tree and covered her with branches. This is where Skylar would lay for 6 months.
No. No.
Skylar's father, David, was distraught when he heard because he thought Sheila genuinely cared about Skylar and believed that the girls were best friends. After her confession, Rachel led investigators to Skylar's body. Here's the fucked up part. When they first arrived, it was so snowy that they couldn't find it.
Oh no.
They had to wait and come back when it got a little warmer. Can you fucking imagine?
No, I can't even imagine.
If I were her father, I would not have left until I found her body.
Right.
Now,
Oh
I don't know
God.
how the police, maybe he didn't go with them that first day, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they definitely should not let
Right.
him go with them the first time they're finding it.
But there's no fucking way. To me, that blows my mind. The idea that you're right there, but you can't find it and you come back later. Now, it was reported that when they did go back, they were there with dogs, and I think it was a police photographer that might have kind of bent down to do something or look at something and kind of looked up and saw human remains underneath the branches.
Oh God, that's harrowing.
Yeah.
That's my word of the day.
That's
Clearly.
a good word. It's a good word. So on March 13th, 2013, U.S. Attorney William Eilenfeld II issued a press release stating that Skylar's body had been found. Skylar's body was less than 30 miles from her home, and Sheila had not confessed to the crime even though Rachel had already led them to her body. So Sheila's playing
Weird.
it. Yeah, she's playing it tight. So just after authorities announced that they had identified Skylar's remains, Sheila, still feigning innocence, tweeted how Skylar would always be her best friend and she hoped Skylar would rest easy. Now, police, of course, they're still monitoring all her social media pages, and they found something that they actually used as evidence to arrest Sheila. Because she posted on Twitter, quote, "We really did go on 3," unquote.
Oh God. I'm like, this is disturbing.
Yeah, these girls are fucked up. Or at least Sheila is. Because it obviously fucked Rachel's head up.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Sheila's just continuing on.
Now,
Seemingly unbothered.
completely, yeah, she's a sociopath. There's no doubt there. Now, who knows if Rachel would have ever have done something like this if she had never met Sheila? That's an interesting question for doctors.
For sure.
So Rachel continued to cooperate with police and even allowed them to put listening devices in her room when Sheila was coming over And then she would try to get Sheila to say something incriminating. But that unfortunately went nowhere.
Ugh.
Police did search Sheila's car and found Skylar's blood on her seats. So they finally charged Sheila with murder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this point, several of Sheila and Rachel's high school classmates came forward because now they're not afraid anymore. And they start testifying about all the things they overheard the two discussing about how they murdered and disposed of Skylar's body. It's crazy to me that no one went to police sooner. But I guess that's how fear works.
Yep, truly.
And of course, a lot of the students after the fact said that they thought they were just joking, but still.
Yeah, like you jokingly like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill you, like to your friend or whatever. Like, shut up, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, but when someone's actually missing and you're sitting there talking
Yeah,
about
oh no,
murdering
yeah.
them, that's
Yeah. In that case, then no.
yeah, that's a whole different thing, you know. Even if
Maybe
it's
it just seems so preposterous.
yeah, but even if it's not true, at that point, you should say something.
Yeah, truly.
So on May 1st, 2013, Rachel pled guilty to second-degree murder. She got a plea agreement, and she pled guilty to murder in the second degree by unlawfully, feloniously, willfully, maliciously, and intentionally causing the death of Skylar Neese by stabbing and causing fatal injuries. That's the official.
Damn.
That's crazy, right?
That's a mic drop right there.
In the plea agreement, the state of West Virginia recommended a sentence of 20 years for Rachel, and she expressed remorse and apologized to the Neeses, her own family, and to God during her sentencing. Rachel's family also issued a public apology for her actions through their lawyer, which I think is a weird way to apologize.
Yeah, I can definitely see having your lawyer write it up.
Yeah,
So you're not incriminating yourself in any way. Like, but it's weird if I don't know.
yeah, I would personally want to be the one to say it, but especially if it was my kid that did it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
On September 4th, 2013, West Virginia prosecutors publicly identified Sheila as the second alleged perpetrator of the murder of Skylar and announced that she would be tried as an adult. Because keep in mind, these kids are 16.
Wow, yeah.
Sheila was indicted by a grand jury on September 6, 2013, for 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of first-degree murder, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder. She pled not guilty. I know, right? What?
That's crazy.
The date of the trial was originally set for January 28th of 2014. Facing the prospect of additional charges from Pennsylvania, because she did cross state lines, she suddenly reversed and pled guilty to first-degree murder.
Damn.
She expressed no remorse.
What the fuck?
None whatsoever.
What the fuck?
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
This is someone that you were close to since you were a kid.
Yeah, this is fucking bad shit.
Yeah. She was sentenced to life in prison with mercy, which means, under West Virginia law, she is eligible for parole after 15 years.
Damn. So she got a different sentence because she's not remorseful.
Weird.
Is that it?
Yes. Weird, right?
Yes, definitely weird.
Yeah. So life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. And after that, the Pennsylvania authorities did not file any more charges against the two girls because of the plea deals. So following her guilty plea, Rachel received 30 years in prison, but was eligible for parole after only 10 years.
Wow.
Now, some of Skylar's tweets that she had posted kind of helped. They were instrumental in helping them solve that murder. So that's kind of a good thing for social media, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true. It's just like anything, it's just a tool. It's how it's used.
Right, and you and I talked about it. That's a great way to do it, where they pretended to be a teenage boy. Brilliant, you know?
Brilliant. Undercover.
So Rachel further expressed remorse when she was at her parole hearing in May of 2023.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, she finally gave a motive for the crime, which was that she and Sheila had been in a relationship, and this caused tension between them and Skylar. Her parole was denied, and she remains incarcerated, which is exactly where she belongs.
Yeah, motive that she released didn't exactly make it sound any better.
No, not at all. Now,
No.
I watched a video of Skylar's parents at the parole hearing,
Oh,
and when she was denied, they cheered and clapped.
can't say I blame them.
No, not at all. Good for them.
Yeah.
So both of these women, who are now in their 20s, are currently incarcerated at the Lacken Correctional Center in West Virginia. Rachel's projected release date is April of 2028. And who knows if Sheila's ever going to get out. I mean, she's got a couple more years before she's eligible for parole. But considering she has shown zero remorse, I doubt it's going to happen.
I would assume that she will not be let out.
That would be my assumption. So one last thing to note here before we wrap up. We're going to go back and talk about Amber Alerts a little bit. So the Amber Alert wasn't issued in Skylar's disappearance because of those circumstances did not meet 4 criteria for an alert to be issued at that time. The first one is the child has to be believed to have been abducted. The second is that they have to be under 18. The third is that the child may be in danger of death or serious injury. And the fourth being that there has to be sufficient information to indicate that the Amber Alert would be helpful. They also, at the time, had a waiting period of 48 hours to elapse before a teenager would be considered missing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good.
No.
I don't think that's right.
West Virginia state legislator for the Neese family, their home district, introduced a bill called Skylar's Law to modify West Virginia's Amber Alert plan to issue immediate public announcements when any child is reported missing and in danger, regardless of whether or not the child is believed to have been kidnapped.
Right, because it's probably for the best that even if a kid runs away,
you get it out there. Correct.
Right, because they could be unsafe. Although I guess for kids escaping abusive homes, maybe that's not the best.
No, but once they're found, then that can be dealt with.
That's true. That is true. Just to get them somewhere else, safe harbor.
Right. So opinion columns in both West Virginia and national media supported Skylar's Law. And on March 27th, 2023, the West Virginia House of Delegates approved Skylar's Law by a 98-0 vote.
Wow, that's awesome to see. I do like to see something done about it. I always like to I like when a case ends and it's a call to action and it's made change happen.
Right. It's sad that it always takes something so terrible for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's what it takes, you know?
Sometimes that's life.
And I gotta tell you that this case upset me a lot when I was researching it because like you said, this is your age group. And that's what I pictured. I pictured my friends' children in that situation, and it's fucking awful.
It's so awful. Yeah, this was also shocking. None of the motive makes sense, which I feel like is part of why it's so unsettling.
Yeah, I agree.
Is because like if you're Skylar, you didn't expect this, and like the fear that gives us thinking about what if everyone around us is
homicidal,
is truly
homicidal,
like right, like if Skylar didn't know, how would I know?
Exactly. You know,
it's
and
scary.
I look back at the fact that I was an angry teen. I had poor impulse control, and I got in a lot of fights, but I never came close to killing somebody.
Right, because you were not, and you would never have intentionally done that either.
I would hope
the way
not.
These girls did.
Yeah, the way they did it, that's so fucked up.
So beyond fucked up.
Like, I've literally left people. People have pissed me off. We've driven out to like a party somewhere, and I've left them miles and miles from where they needed to be.
Oh my God.
But I've never killed somebody. I've never even thought of killing somebody.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, no.
So that was the case of Skylar Neese. Unfortunately, those 2 girls that killed her are still in prison. And I mean, fortunately, they're still in prison, but unfortunately, they may be released. In fact, as we said, 2028 looks like a release date for Rachel. So who knows?
Who knows?
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Once again, I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.